Trustee Becker?
Mr. Chairman, like the last meeting, I once again have a lengthy update.
Oh, no.
For what?
Should I recess? No. What's your lengthy update?
Drum roll, please.
Oh, no.
So I spent the last couple of weeks and a lot of hours doing research. One of those is the public has been asking me in person and social media, what's going on with the Eastgate Mall? What's going on with Kroger? My answer's been the same. Well, they're in court until there's a decision and an appeal and who knows what else. Nothing. And there's kind of no hope. So what I've been curious about all this time is what happened when Kroger bought Sears? What agreements did they have with the owners of the mall at that time? And then what is the new ownership of the mall? That's the Hall Group. What is their argument against against Kroger, that they filed for an injunction to stop the demolition? So, and then I wanted to see the Kroger response to that. So I obtained all of the court records on what's going on with all this, and no decision has been made yet, at least not the last time I looked, which might have been yesterday. It's in Victor Haddad's courtroom. So what I want to do is, first off, in these documents, and I went through, 30 some odd documents and exhibits, and it was 653 pages. Yes, I really am that anal. I reviewed 653 pages. And a lot of it was two kids on a schoolyard just sniping at each other. Yes, I did, or yes, you did, no, you didn't, that type of thing. And some of the attorney arguments I just found comical. But regardless, what I want to tell the public is what I've learned. And there's fascinating stuff in these documents, and they are all public records. So I'm not disclosing anything out of school here. That anybody can go get this information. So I just want to give the public an update on what I know, and this is everything I know. So first off, to kind of set the stage, a little more, so just some basic information. The Eastgate Mall has 11 owners, 5 of which have veto power. And those 5, they're Dillard's, Gramus, the Hall Group, J.C. Penney, and Kroger. The good news with all this, and I want you all to mark your calendars, March 4th, 2030. March 4th, 2030, that's the date, the covenants, that's the contract with all the easements in it and establishing the rights of all the owners. Those covenants expire on that date, and then the court actions of this nature go away. So it'll certainly change the environment with the mall and I guess allow it more freedom to be developed, let me put it that way. So I told you the documents I was after, so some timelines on this. And it was in July of 21, Kroger purchased Sears. The following year then, Kroger came to us to get a, I saw that.
Their kids are waving at me.
I thought you were telling me to speed it up.
No, the kids are waving at me. I was waving them back.
Kroger came to us for site plan approval, which we approved. In August of 23, so a year after that, then it was the Hall Group purchased the Eastgate Mall. So that's the main section, the inside quarters of the mall. So after Hall made the purchase in August, Hall and Kroger were communicating with each other, and those communications are in the court records, which I'm going to tell you about this evening, and they were playing nice. Things went south. I'm not sure why exactly, but it didn't work out. And then push came to shove, and they've been fighting ever since. It was in December of 23, the temporary restraining order was issued, and then there was a trial in September of 24. So since the trial, there's been some other documents. Like I said, I reviewed all those documents, and we're waiting on the judge to make a decision. So my intent here, so I got like 4 pages of notes. One of which is a graphic depiction of a site plan. I got a page with Kroger arguments and a page with the Hall Group arguments. And, so I'm going to try to fairly present both sides to the best of my ability. I'm not taking sides here, and I'm certainly not an attorney, so I'm not going to give some kind of legal opinion of what I think of their arguments, because I'm not qualified to do that. Okay, so the plaintiff is the Hall Group. So I got 3 major bullet points here, and then I got some transcript quotes that are going to be interesting. So the plaintiff argument, which again, that's the Hall Group, the owner of the Eastgate Mall, that's the inside corridors. Their argument's real simple: breach of contract. And again, I don't have a legal mind to know what breach of contract actually means in terms of when it can be enforced and when it can't, but that's what they're arguing over. And it's breach of contract with irreparable harm. The second point is, and this is out of the documents. This is really what comes down to Hall's argument against Kroger, the most telling piece of this. With this proposed construction and orientation, the new loading dock area and trash dumpster area for the new store will be located in the newly created gap between the mall building and the new rear wall of the new store, which also happens to face the main boulevard entrance of the mall development itself. And then this third bullet point, this is where the plaintiff is arguing that the defendant is Kroger, is not coming to the table with clean hands. So that's part of this argument. Kroger does not want to build its store in a cooperative fashion with the Hall Group as required by the covenant, because Kroger, this is interesting, Kroger desires to block or box out Costco from coming into the mall property. Kroger views Costco as a competitor in the marketplace. Kroger purchased the Sears parcel, so Costco could not purchase the parcel. Now, frankly, I don't get that. I mean, I don't know how many people decide, am I going to go to Sam's or am I going to go to Walmart for groceries? Why Kroger thinks Costco, I don't know. I don't get that at all. But regardless, that's in the record. So here's some stuff from the transcript itself. So the attorney for Hall, he asked a question to this is on cross-examination, one of the witnesses for Kroger. And his Hall attorney is Chris Finney. Some of you might know him. He's got an office here in Eastgate. Says, I'd like you to turn to the plaintiff's exhibit 48 and tell me what that is. So the witness gives a description, says, this is email correspondence regarding the project submittal for approval to our capital committee. We always ask if there's a potential competitive impact in this market, and the conversation was, we always knew, we had heard that Costco had a backup offer on the site. So that would be a backup offer on the Sears site that Kroger bought. So that's the correspondence related to that discussion. Then the attorney followed up and asked the witness to read her response, her email response. And this is a direct quote. Yes, I believe we should include the value of the Costco competitor impact as a benefit. We were able to successfully purchase the Sears parcel to block Costco from entering the Eastgate Mall trade area at this location. This provides us a competitive advantage from a timing perspective. Just pulling a Kroger property does not preclude Costco from finding another site in the market. I have been asked by the brokers representing Costco and Menards if we would sell our site. Then I want to go to the defense, the Kroger arguments here. And I got 5 of these, and I'm going to pause the show graph. First one. So, and some of the wording on this, I've changed it just to make it kind of flow better with the presentation that I'm doing here. So if you're looking for, direct quotes in the actual original documents, some of the wording I changed a little bit just for flow. Plaintiff cannot prevail because the covenant, number one, the covenants are not enforceable either because they have been waived, because changed circumstances no longer support their enforcement, and or because the covenants no longer have substantial value, and or 2, the Hall Group unreasonably withheld its consent to to Kroger's development on Kroger's property. Number 2, all of the original owners have waived the covenants the Hall Group seeks to enforce because they no longer have any value to all the owners, much less substantial value, the key legal requirement. I don't know if that's true or not. That's Kroger's argument. Number 3, perhaps most importantly, even the Hall Group does not really want to maintain the current mall configuration or to keep operating it as an enclosed mall subject to the covenants. After all, in September 2023, the Hall Group submitted to Kroger a proposed mall redevelopment site plan, demolishing the mall and obliterating the current configuration to accommodate Menards and apartments. Notably, that plan looks strikingly similar to the Union Township's master plan, in which the current enclosed mall configuration is demolished and apartments are built. So I got 2 more of these, but I'm going to pause for a moment, because what I want to show you, and I know nobody can see this, but I'm going to kind of set it up if I can. But this is the site plan that is in the court record that was submitted by the Hall Group to Kroger's. And it shows a Dillard's, a Kohl's, JCPenney, those are all in their original locations, none of that moves. Some new stores, an Academy Sports, Marshall's, Menard's, and the Kroger. On the top side of this graph, you have apartments that kind of wrap around where the old movie theaters used to be, over on the I-275 side, wraps around the north side of the property along Old 74, and then over toward Firestone. So this is all showing apartment buildings. And I'm going to kind of set that up. Maybe the camera can zoom in on that. Does that work? Yes. And another copy here. I'm going to slide this down to my colleagues. So they're looking at the same thing that's on the clipboard. Okay, so Kroger's defense. This is the last page I have here. Two more bullet points. No reasonable person wants the vacant Sears building and the mall to keep operating in the same manner for 5 more years. Clearly, none of the other owners do. Union Township does not either. Letting the mall decline further to enforce covenants that expire in 5 years for the benefit of an out-of-state owner defies logic, reasonableness, and fair dealing. This is where both sides are kind of pointing a finger at each other that they're not good actors, and they're not coming to the table with clean hands. And the last one, when a community burdened with restrictive covenants has changed, a court has the authority to declare them no longer enforceable. Kroger is simply asking the court to endorse legally what is already known to every citizen in Claremont County. The Eastgate Mall is dead. While I was over at the Eastgate Mall yesterday, it is definitely not dead. There's a lot of businesses that are looking like they're doing pretty well over there. I'd encourage the public to go over there. Look for yourself. Go for a walk around the mall. It's good exercise. Stop at Annie's, get a pretzel. The food court. So my thoughts on who's going to win this, frankly, based on all these arguments I'm saying, again, I'm not looking at it from a legal perspective because I just don't have that knowledge base, but I wouldn't be surprised either way the judge rules. And regardless of how the judge rules, I do expect an appeal, and this may wind up in the Ohio Supreme Court. That wouldn't surprise me either. But at the end of the day, I think Kroger wins this, and the reason I say that because they could win this case. They could win in the 12th District, Appellate Court. They could win at the Ohio Supreme Court. On March 4th, 2030, they win. Game over. So, all they have to do is run out the clock. And with that, gentlemen, that concludes my, once again, a little lengthy update.
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
Mr. Chairman, before we go to the executive session, I just want to make one last comment on this. So I should have pointed out on this site plan, you got the Kroger is here where the Sears store currently is. Next to that, it shows us Menards. Everything behind here, which is the current mall, is all parking. And just my own editorial comment here, I really like the plan. I hope the Hall Group can pull this off and put it together. And, you know, they come to some kind of agreement with Kroger and make it happen. So I guess the message here to the public is there is hope, and I got it here in my hand. So it's not going to be a dead mall, or Kroger's words, a dead mall forever. So change is coming. That's all, Chairman.